Hi, my name is Joe Rocha, and I am a PGA golf professional and also the club golf coach here at MIT and the golf instructor at MIT as well. I want to, especially during the winter time here, go over a few key fundamentals that you can practice. As you can see, even indoors, you don't need to be at the range or even at the golf course to work on these fundamentals that will be key for you to improve and hit the ground running once the spring comes. So the first fundamental I'd like to go over is how we hold the club. And the reason why holding the club is so important is because if we look at the arm or the arms, we have multiple joints in the arm and a ton of range of motion in the arms. And so the way we hold the club is going to influence how our arms move and how the club moves. So if you look at it, the wrist can move back and forth like this and up and down, and the forearm rotates with the two bones, and the forearm, they rotate, and then the elbow hinges, and also the shoulder, of course, can rotate. So we want to, it's key to manage all of that range of motion during the golf swing. And not to mention, we have not one but two arms that have to sync together. So the biggest influence that I've seen on how all of those joints interact, the biggest influence is how we hold the club. So we'll go over how we hold the club, and again, this is a really key fundamental that's often kind of glossed over because it can be a little bit boring, but pay attention to the few key sort of ingredients here, and it'll serve your game really well. The first thing is, and I'll do it from a right-handed golfer's perspective, so lead arm or left hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my arm out and then, whoops, technically speaking, ulnar deviate the hand, so this way. So what I want to do is I want the club to rest fairly, or as close as possible to straight across the hand to start. So a mistake people can make is if the hand isn't tilted like this, if the hand is in line with the forearm, what can happen is the club will go too much in the palm of the hand. And we can talk later about how that can influence how the club moves going back. So key is to tilt your hand down like so and get the club to work across your hand. Because the club is at an angle, it's not going to be straight across, it'll be at a slight angle. And then close your fingers around the club. From this view, it'll be a lot like if you're holding, say, your book bag or a suitcase or dumbbell, just a basic natural hold you want on the club. So if I say I'm holding something with some weight and then I just bring it over, that'll be the view from this side. And what we're looking for is the thumb to be, for again, right-handed player, just a little bit to the right of center. And you want that thumb right on the club like so. Another way to look at it, just think about, this is the carpal tunnel of the hand, so you really want the club away from that because it'll just give you good range of motion with the club. And I'll mention, if you get the club too much in the palm, like in that carpal tunnel area, it'll really inhibit the way you can move the club. So that's the lead hand. So the trail hand is maybe a little bit more simple, where we're going to take, say, where the fingers and the hand meet, and just put that behind the club, like so, and then close our fingers like this. Sometimes we talk about like shaking hands with the club, and key from this view is that the trail hand, my right hand, is going to cover my left thumb. My right thumb also will be on the club. Sometimes we see the thumb off or to the side. So you want the thumb on the club. A couple of pitfalls. One I mentioned already, where the club gets too much in the palm of the hand, and that's going to basically cause the club to roll, the forearm to roll too much because the wrist is locked up. And the other is, a lot of people ask about interlocking. They've heard a lot about interlocking, or what we do with the pinky finger of our trail hand, my right hand. And the one pitfall I would say is, if you interlock too deep, and the interlocking, the name is probably misleading, because if we literally interlock, our right hand, trail hand, can get underneath the club too much. So just be careful if you do interlock, hook the pinky finger and index finger, that you don't go too deep and the hand gets underneath. So you want to make sure your trail hand's covering your left thumb, like so. And again, what the placement of the hands do is really influence how the club moves, and we just want to be able to move the club in the multiple directions that we need to accomplish a repeatable swing. So that's how we hold the club. The second aspect is how we stand to the ball. And we want to think of ourselves as standing sort of neutral to start. And if you think about it, there's a center of gravity within us, in between the rib cage and pelvis, within. So what we want to do is be aware of that center, and then when we stand to the ball, we want to hinge from the hips. So we're going to push our hips back and stand to the ball like so. Again, a pitfall is that with golf, we kind of take it for granted being golfers, but the unique thing is the ball being on the ground. In other sports, ball's on the ground too, but and it's not moving as well. So that's another thing that's unique. But what I see a lot is people get to the ball by hinging from their spine, so they'll kind of curve their spine a little bit. But also, if you think about that center of gravity, it'll get too far out over the toes. And then again, just balance is compromised. And when people come to me, I think people want two things. They want to hit it longer, which is great, and they also want to be more consistent. So if your center of gravity is too far over, your toes, it's going to be hard to be consistent. From this view, again, to build the posture, I'm going to stand neutral, be aware of that center of gravity, hinge my hips, also a little flex in the knees, which will, I think, come naturally. And the key point here is that think of your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, even like ears, being all aligned. Often people, especially with the driver, you may have heard, people kind of encourage a tilt because we do want to swing up at, say, the driver. But I don't think tilting is a good idea. I think because your trail hand is lower on the club than the left or the lead, you might have a slight tilt, but I would not add any tilt consciously. So again, think of ankles, knees, hips, shoulders all on a line, and also ears too, because sometimes we see heads eye lines getting tilted and things like that. So even myself, playing for a lot of years, that feels good. It feels like I can work into my joints like real efficiently. So the final point is, now that we are holding the club well, and probably a good place to say that there are, the golf swing is like a fingerprint, so everybody's going to do things differently. But this is a good place to start. I want to, even though the swing will generally start back in a good way. Just want to go over a couple of points that you can check for yourself. So this is an interesting point on the club. In the history of golf instruction, different parts of the club have been emphasized. The club head, people have talked about the handle, the shaft. This is an interesting point because it's the center of mass of the club, or balance point, and it has other sort of implications as we go further, but for this video, we'll focus on how this is moving, the balance point. Obviously, you're not going to have this on your club, so you can think of the club head as well. You can interchange the balance point for the club head. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our hold of the club the way we talked about. We have our, we're managing the center of mass of our body as well by hinging from the hips. Good balance. And what we want to do is, we'll call that first step, setup. Second step, we want to keep this red ball as we start back, basically in between our forearms as we start back. And I know that the swing happens so fast, but it's a good thing to check every now and then. And what I've been doing lately is if you're working in a mirror, there's a mirror in the golf room that you can work with. A good way to check this, I've been turning myself basically 45 degrees. And when I start back, I go to about here, it's just starting the club back, keeping the ball or the club head in between my forearms, and then hinge it up. And if the club head or the ball is in between my hands, I'm good. So you can check this by starting back here and then hinge it up. And if it's in the mirror, you'll see the club head in between in line with the hands. Often a pitfall is that, I was saying, this balance point, you can do this short sort of exercise with or drill with your club. You hold it at the balance point and move the club, it moves very freely. But because we hold it from a distance, it gets harder to manage that balance point, or the center of mass. So if you work on your grip, your hold, how you hold the club, your posture, how you stand to it, and then be aware of how the club's moving back, those three things will really set you up for a great 2021 on the golf course. Thanks for watching.